What is up, everybody? In today's video we are going to slap the radiator in the E30 as well as talk about everything that we need to finish up this build. All that in today's episode. My name is Ryan. This is Project Race Car. Let's get into it. So in the last video you saw we got the K-Series all mounted in the E30 and off camera I was able to move and adjust the transmission mount as well as get the engine and transmission under its own weight. So as you can see, this thing looks right at home. Like I mentioned, the third cylinder is sitting behind the subframe, so everything's all moved back. It is a pretty tight fit on the back, but you want the engine to be as far back on the wheels as possible. So we have all this room, so we're going to fill a little bit of it with the radiator, and I was able to also get the shift linkage hooked up. So the transmission is hooked up to the chassis and bolted in. The 318 IS, that transmission had the same tilt as the ZF transmission, so if you guys are doing a 318 IS, it does make sense to do a ZF transmission swap, but also you don't have to. So in my sense, my transmission will hold the power for a turbo build in the future, so that's why I upgraded with the ZF transmission. If you guys have a 6-cylinder car, the transmission does not need to be upgraded. It can handle 400 wheel horsepower all day long. But normally with this swap, if you guys aren't changing the transmission, then you don't need to touch anything from the engine back, so you won't need to touch the drive shaft or anything like that. Since I'm going with a bigger power build in the future, I just wanted to upgrade some things now so that I didn't have to upgrade it in the future. But I mean, look at this thing. You can't say no to it. It has so much room on the hot side, a lot of room on the cold side, and we will need to move the brake booster, but from where the car sits right now, the 4 big things that we need is the intake, the exhaust, the wiring harness, and the ECU, so the standalone. So those are the 4 big things, and then we will need to upgrade the fueling system, and then figure out the cooling system. And then from there, we should be able to do a full start. So a whole bunch of little parts, a couple big parts. But this thing, my goal right now currently is to have it running by summertime. Since I am just going naturally aspirated to start, I'm going to use the stock fuel injectors and then just upgrade the fuel pump. In the next video, I will be painting the valve cover of the K-Series so that it looks a little bit better. It's looking a little bit run down and raggedy. So I will be painting that. I'm still thinking about going with white, but if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. I try to respond to every single comment. But without further ado, let's try to find those mounts and then slap the radiator back in. The radiator should be, we should be fine with just using the stock radiator out of my 318 IS. The K-Series for cooling tends to be very, very good and very efficient, so you don't need to, upgrade with this crazy big radiator. So since the M42 had the clutch fan, we are going to be taking this big shield off. That way the radiator is just exposed, and then we'll be going electric fan in a couple weeks. So when we get closer, we'll slap a electric fan on there and wire that bad boy up. So to get these stupid things out, I have a pair of channel locks, or not channel locks, but vice grips, whatever this tool is called. Slap it on there. Wait for it. It's harder to do with the camera. Perfect, just like that. Anyways, you get the idea. Use the vice grips and rip out the little pin, and then the big piece should come off. It looks much better now. I think I'm gonna give it a wipe down to make it look a little bit better, and then we'll slap it in. Nice. That boy is sturdy. And we got it all hooked back up, cleaned up. It looks good. Now you can see that there's still so much room. But we can, we'll be able to fit a slim fan in there, as well as have any sort of intercooler and stuff in the future. Obviously the intercooler goes above, but you know, piping and everything. So there is plenty of room to still work in here. And it looks good. I did want to show you guys under here. I got the ZF transmission back, and if you guys are doing a ZF transmission swap, I just used the original bracket from my 318IS, and these bolts actually slide through the chassis, so I just moved mine from here to here, and so they're able to slide back. So it was quite easy and simple just to move and rearrange the bracket. And then up here, I got the shifting linkage all hooked up to the transmission. So all we will need to do is figure out the drive shaft, and then our drivetrain is all done. But it is completely under its own weight, which is very good and relatively easy. So I'll need to fill up the transmission with fluid, as well as get the slave cylinder put in, but I think I'm gonna go with a ZF slave cylinder, and then I'll just bleed the system. As weird as the Honda K-swap into the BMW e30, as weird as it is, it's actually, it kind of makes sense, right? Because you're still using a BMW transmission, so all the drivetrain stuff is pretty similar. The K-series just works, it revs high, and it's a lightweight 4-cylinder, so it's gonna be perfect for the chassis. I'm actually really excited to see how it goes and what it's like to drive, just naturally aspirated, because it will be still like 100 horsepower jump from the 318IS. So I don't know, it just makes sense in there, you know? You see all the room on just all the sides. I just can't get over it. It looks really, really cool, especially as a rear-wheel drive option. And it looks more like a rear-wheel drive car now, so obviously with it positioned in the car, but I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on it? I know that it's somewhat of a new-ish build. But yeah, when I saw it, it works, it makes sense. TF Works makes it super easy. They have a whole bunch of swap components, and it's really just a bolt-in easy setup. I am by no means a mechanic or just like, you know, a brilliant guy when it comes to cars. I know a little bit, but I'm really kind of just doing this just to. So hopefully it is, you know, we'll see it run in a couple months. But if I can do it, then you guys can do it. As cliche as that sounds, you know, it's a pretty simple so far. So I'll be going through it and learning as I go. And hopefully you guys are learning something as well. But if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Like I said, try to respond to everyone. And if you guys could drop a sub, we are so close to 5,000, trying to hit that by December. But thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, my name is Ryan. This is Project Race Car. Have an amazing day. Peace.